What's cracking, everybody? XehrFelrose here, bringing you some Pokemon GO Battle League content. Today's video, we're taking a look at a Great League Remix team with Shadow Magnezone on the closer, as we've got Jellicent on the lead. Jellicent and Magnezone core very well together. We've got Steelix on the safe swap on this team. Shadow Magnezone, something that really overperforming over its ranking in the Great League Remix here. Something I completely overlooked, but as the meta came out, everybody's running, water, flying, all kinds of stuff to tweak to it. But this, however, first game, we get a superior lead. And I find out as I play this team, I don't really have a amazing answer to superior. So, like, most of the meta that I was seeing when I picked this team up was, like, you know, Glygars and Mantines and Dugong's water types and, there's fighters like Annihilate and Poliwrath, like stuff that Jellicent looked like it would be really good into. So, opponent hits me with a Frenzy Plant, ducks out, and I CMP the Dugong here, and they just throw energy. So I'm like, all right, you know what? I just gonna have to let it go, try and make something happen with the Magnezone here. So Jellicent gonna come in here. We're gonna go for the Shadow Ball. The opponent's going to be able to get a move off, however, I'm not going to shield as a drill run. Really doesn't threaten Jellicent all that much from this HP range. It doesn't really do much. You can easily survive too. I'm going to overfarm here and get to my Shadow Ball just before I expect them to be at their next drill run. So we're going to get that off. And not quite enough, but one more Hex is going to take it down here. And now the opponent's going to probably come back in with the Superior, and I'm going to be able to go for a Shadow Ball. This is hopefully going to get a shield off the Superior, and if it doesn't, well, they're going to be pretty low. So they actually let it go, and now I've got my Magnezone with 2 shields. You have to see what the opponent decides to do here. They're going to go for a move here. I'm going to shield it up as a Frenzy Plant would do a lot of damage. And then they're going to actually stay in here and go for another move. And I'm like, this could be an Aerial Ace, but I'm not taking the chance that this is a Frenzy Plant, which it is. The opponent is going to come in with their Carbink. Now, Mirror Shot being double super effective. Sometimes I just wish that I had Flash Cannon. Honestly, we could have absolutely boomed the ever-loving heck out of this Carbink in game 1. But we're going to go for the Mirror Shot as, you know, for the most part, it's at least more consistent. And the nice thing here is that I still have my Jellicent in the back, which if I can just make sure that I have a move ready to go against the Superior, I should be okay here, because the opponent did throw, as soon as they had all the energy. They threw back-to-back pretty much, just, you know, as soon as they come back in, they're going to have to get back up to another move, and I'm almost in a move. My Jellicent is not able to get to the surfboard. The opponent's Carbink is going to get to another move. So now I just have to make sure they don't get to like a Moon Blast or something, but they actually go straight for a move here, which tells me it's going to be a Rock Slide. Rock Slide here, not going to do enough damage, and the opponent stays in, gets farmed down. I'm at the Mirror Shot. We're going to fire this off at the Superior. That's going to be a good game. Now, Superior safe swap, very difficult to deal with, to be honest, but we take it. Good game. This team did really well. Magnezone is obviously one of those hit and miss kind of Pokemon where you have to save your shields for it. I like the Steelix here. If you want, you can run Shadow Steelix. Certainly no reason not to. It's really a preference thing. And Psychic Fangs and Crunch are the more... they're the optimal moveset, I would say, but if you wanted to, for example, run Breaking Swipe to deal with the Mandibuzz, you know, something that's actually going to do some damage, I certainly wouldn't mind that. Opponent goes for the close combat here as they charm down or get Dragon Tail down. Now, at this point, I'm expecting this could be Empoleon double charm. So, I'm hoping my Magnezone is in the back with the chef hat on, getting ready to cook. We're going to go 1 over the Crunch for good timing. The opponent actually decides to throw their energy right as they get to their move here, which is perfectly fine. This leaves Jellicent and Magnezone in a very good spot. And also, I mean, they may very well be in Volt Switch downrange. So I'm going to come in with Jellicent just because I have more HP, or not HP, but I have more bulk on the Jellicent. I'm going to be able to get a Shadow Ball off. This is going to force a shield off of the opponent. If not, they're going to take a lot of damage. Magnezone comes in here, and 1 Mirror Shot would easily destroy this Ninetales. The opponent is going to go for a move here before I'm able to get to my next... I want to get to the back-to-back here, basically. So we're going to go for 1 more Volt Switch, go for the back-to-back Mirror Shots, and see if the opponent decides that they want to shield here, if they want to let it go. They do shield, which means I'll go for the back-to-back here. They would have needed, you know, a couple more, I think, to get to another Weather Ball, but I didn't want to take the chance because... just look how much damage these Volt Switches do. If that had knocked out, then we've got the Mirror Shot to knock out. That's going to be a good game here. Get your Empoleon double charm out of here, man. Grow up. You say that out of spite on the stream sometimes when people run weird teams. A single Charmer, you know, tactically is fine. with me, but like double charm, get out of here. Opponent safe swaps into a Cresselia and goes immediately for their Grass Knot without even waiting to see what, you know, I'm going to do here. So they want to get the super effective damage off. Makes sense. I'm going to return fire with a Shadow Ball here. See if they want to go ahead and shield, and they don't. So now that they've decided not to shield, I'm going to come in with my Magnezone and look to get a full farm down of the Cresselia. You know, just because I can, right? You know, at this point, like, what I should do is I should go for double wild charge here. Unfortunately, I don't have back-to-back, so I'm gonna go for the mirror shot instead. And I'm gonna hope the opponent shields, and then I can get him with another one. But the opponent just lets it go, and so what I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna go straight for wild charge. At this point, I probably don't live the moves, but they actually let that go too. Boom! I don't know what they were thinking, but we take those. We get a Feraligatr in the next game. Very, very tough lead here. Jellicent really does not appreciate because of the Shadow Claws and how quickly they'll add up. And the opponent goes for the move. I believe they went for just a Hydro there. I don't know if they were even... No, they were definitely at a Crunch, I believe. But I figure I can live one move. I'm going to go ahead and let one go and then return fire with the Shadow Ball here. If the opponent can shield or not, that's up to them. And now that I've got a shield up, I'm going to come in with Steelix. And, like... my win condition here is probably going to end up being with Magnezone anyway, so I'm going to let their move go through, and I'm going to go and look to try and get to a crunch here with good timing, but the opponent does get to another move. They've overfarmed quite a bit as well, but I should be able to get to another Psychic Fangs or two if I want to, but instead I'm just going to go for the crunch, you know, a bit of a, you know, hopefully they'd shield this, as their Feraligator's already done quite a bit of work here, and the opponent now comes in with a Mantine, which is definitely good. And I'm telling you, this is what I'm seeing. A lot of people running like ABA water. Magnezone has an absolute field day with these kinds of teams. And this is why I also like Jellicent overall in this, at least in this meta, as is because there's a lot of, you know, other water types. Jellicent does very well against most other water types. I'm just sending in the Magnezone here. The opponent is going to go ahead and go for a move. I'm going to go ahead and shield just in case it's the Water Pulse, but the opponent goes for a bait, and then in comes a Ninetales. They're going to get the mirror shot to the face, and I've got two. Their opponent has absolutely nowhere to go at this point. We're going to take out Ninetales. And then the opponent's going to go for one final move. This is the Water Pulse, then it's a problem, but it's just an Aerial Ace. And even if it had been, I would have been able to get to a move. So good game. Even if it had been the Water Pulse, I think I still would have been able to hand it with Jellicent. Maybe. Pelipper in the next game. Awkward lead here. Opponent immediately swapping into Sableye. I am way too slow on the switch here. I wanted to try and switch after that first Hex, but unfortunately I was not able to get out in time, and my Jellicent threw an extra fast move, so that gave them 3 Shadow Claws of a head start, which, I mean, doesn't seem like much, but when you really think about, you know, how often they just need one, you know, a couple of foul plays to land here, and they're good. Now, thankfully, we do get the debuff here, and I need to get switched. I need to keep the, I want to put the Magnezone on the Pelipper. That's what I want to do here. So we're going to go ahead, and we're going to keep going for the crunches. I am actually not going to go for Psychic Fangs. At least that's why I went for the crunch in the first place, was because I was expecting that I was going to be able to, or they might not shield, so I don't want to do double resisted damage for really no gain here. So opponent comes back in with the Pelipper. I am going to go for a Psychic Fangs and then a crunch here. I could have probably gone for 2 crunches, but I wasn't sure, and I you know, just safe plays, right? But I technically could have gone for double crunch here, which probably would have done more damage, but either way is fine. Now I'm going to come in with my Magnezone because I was trying to get a little bit of a snipe there, and the opponent has a Superior in the back, so this is like, this is not looking good. Opponent is going to be able to overfarm here if they want to, and I am going for a mirror shot. I want to be able to try and get to maybe 2 mirror shots at this point. So if I just go for one more Volt Switch, I should be able to get to back-to-back. But the opponent has energy, and they're able to get to a move here. So I was hoping they wouldn't be able to, but the Aerial Ace is just enough to take out Magnezone. And now things are getting really, really scary. My only win condition here is if I get the shield with the Surf, I can catch a move on the Steelix and then get the Shadow Ball off here and somehow still have enough. Well, I wait a turn, I expect him to throw, I get the catch on the Steelix, and now I have to land the Shadow Ball on the Superior. Can we get there? And the Superior gets there 1 turn before we get that Shadow Ball off. Unfortunate. Opponent is going to take me out here. Boom! And that is a very unfortunate loss. Good game to them. Next battle, we got a pretty nice lead here with a Dugong. Now we're going to see what the opponent brings in. They come in with a Gallade here, and they get to Leaf Blades quicker than I'm getting to Surfs. And man, I was just hoping to get a shield and dip, but they go straight for the Leaf Blade. I know I can tank one, so I do. And now we're going to go for Surf. And in hindsight, I know how this plays out, and I know what I should have done differently. What I should have done here was go right to Steelix and save what was left of my Jellicent. I'm thinking maybe I can go ahead and win this matchup, and I can then, you know, get my alignment, you know, put Magnezone on the Dugong. But I'm forced to give up both of my shields here, and that's why I'm saying it probably would have been to my benefit to just come in with the Dugong, or come in with the Steelix, because that way I'm not shields down against Dugong, and I don't know about you guys, but Magnezone, not going to have a good time. Now, I hope I can get to the Shadow Ball for chip damage, but I can't. And at this point, I concede. I know that I don't have a win against a shielded Dugong with the team I have left, so good game. Oh, and I forgot to cut out the Q times, unfortunate. But yeah, it basically, without shields, you know, the drill run, 2 shots Steelix and 1 shot's Magnezone. And I should have come in with Steelix to handle that matchup a lot sooner so that I wouldn't have to be stuck without my Jellicent. And in the next game, we get a miserable lead here with a Shadow Magnezone. So we're going to go right into the Steelix here. And the opponent's staying in for some reason. I'm not really sure why. And they decide to throw energy. I'm like, Mirror Shot, Wild Charge? Okay, go for it. They go for the Wild Charge. It really doesn't do much. And now they come in with a Shadow Grand Bull. And I'm like, all right, what are we doing here? Magnezone Double Charm now? So opponent is going to go ahead and shield this first Psychic Fangs, which you typically don't want to do. You always want to let the first one go and then shield the ones after, because if you shield the first one, the next ones are still going to do more damage than the one previous. So now the opponent is going to go for a move here. I'm actually going to let this go. I feel like even though Jellicent doesn't really appreciate seeing Shadow Magnezone, even if I can get to a Shadow Ball against it, which the defense drop coming in clutch here, if I can get to a Shadow Ball against it, I'm fine. And the opponent actually comes in with a Tropius. So Magnezone is sitting very nice here in this endgame, especially because the opponent has shielded. From a previous battle, I found out how much damage a Wild Charge does to Shadow Magnezone. My opponent is going to get knocked out from this, and my Magnezone still has 2 shields to deal with it. We are going to take out the Magnezone, and the opponent concedes. Good game. Getting into the next battle here, we got Jellicent on the lead versus Annihilate. This is exactly where I need to see the Annihilate, but I expect the opponent to make a swap here, and they do, into a Mantine, and in comes the Magnezone to feast upon this winged Manta Ray. I'm going to farm it all the way down. The opponent is going to be able to get to an Ice Beam here, not going to do enough to do any meaningful damage, and we get a full farm down. Now, once again, just like the Poliwrath earlier, I'm hoping they shield this, but every time I do this exact play, they never shield the first move, and I should have just gone for 1 more Volt Switch and gone for the Wild Charges. That's what I should have done. The opponent does correctly shield that. They don't get very much farm, thankfully, and now I come in with my Jellicent. I'm able to get to a Shadow Ball before they're able to get to the Shadow Ball, thanks to the energy we had from the lead here. And the opponent just lets it go, and in comes Magnezone. I've got the Steelix in the back. They concede because they know there's no way to win. Good game. Oh, did I forget the Q times again? Oh, no. Oh, that's 2 in a row, dude. Usually one of them once in a while, but 2 in a row. Thankfully, it wasn't a long Q time. Anyway. Man. All right, so we're going to get Jellicent on the lead versus Feraligatr. Just such, especially the Shadow Feraligatr. This is just such a bad lead. So I'm going to go straight to my Steelix this time. I figure they're going to throw a move. I'd rather at least not take super effective damage from the Shadow Claws. I'll shield 1 Hydro Cannon just to see what I can get out of my opponent here. I'm going to go for a Crunch for some actual damage. Not looking to throw Psychic Fangs here because there's no reason to. Even though it would have gotten the shield, I'm really not too worried about it here. I'm actually willing to put up a second shield if I have to here. I'm thinking about it, but I'm just going to let it go. I'm going to let the Jellicent come back in here. It's low enough that perhaps a Surf might be nearly enough. So we're just going to let Jellicent come in, and I'm just going to hope and pray that they maybe are weak in the back to Magnezone. And if they're not, then I just lose. And that's really all there is to it. So Crunch, going to do a ton of damage to Jellicent here. I'm going for the Surf. This is likely going to be enough to knock out. If not, I can maybe snipe with Zone. So we're going to see what happens here. It is enough to take out. The opponent now comes in with a Cresselia, and they have an Annihilate, and I got no way out of this one, man. I'm just going to let it go. Good game. All right, we're getting into the next battle here. We got Mantine on the lead here. We're going to be able to do some pretty good neutral damage into this with the Shadow Ball. And I know that they're not going to throw Ice Beam or Water Pulse, so I'm not going to be able to find out what their other move is, but that would kind of be more important for me if I was able to come in and, you know, kind of figure out what their move is with Steelix. Now, I'm going to try to see if I can catch an Aerial Ace on the next, next time they would throw. I'm just going to go straight into Steelix, honestly. The opponent now has a Feraligatr, and this, because Shadow Feraligatr is not very bulky, we definitely have some play here, especially in the 2-shield scenario if I need to. But honestly, I'm not really sure. The opponent's already shown that they're super weak to Magnezone. I'm just going to let this go here. See if I can get to another move in time. And we are able to get to the Psychic Fangs just barely. We either get switch advantage here or a shield from the opponent. They decide to try and keep switch here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to look to save both shields for Magnezone, but I'm going to let Magnezone come in here, shield up a move, and we're going to see what they have in the back. And if they have like Steelix or something, then I probably just lose. But they have a Nidoqueen, very unexpected here. I'm going for the Mirror Shot because the Wild Charge is double resisted. I do have to be careful, of course, of an Earth Power. And the opponent here deciding to stay in this matchup because it is honestly just a very good matchup for Nidoqueen, especially because all I can do is chip it with Mirror Shots. Again, just kind of wish that I had... I just wish that I had... Oh, good. I wish that I had Flash Cannon sometimes. But the opponent's going to counter swap back in with the Mantine. That's kind of what I was hoping here, is I want them to shield potentially, because this is not a good matchup for the Nidoqueen. So either they shield here, or they don't, and now I can hopefully get to a Surf and strip the final shield off of this Nidoqueen, the opponent throwing right as soon as I get there. So very good counting by them. Earth Power is going to take me out, but now it's just a matter, they full sent the Earth Power. Are they going to throw another? I know this is a bait. I know it. I knew it when I shielded this. I'm like, this is a Poison Fang, and it feels so bad, but I can get to 2 Mirror Shots. I don't think that they have enough energy to get to another Earth Power after just throwing an Earth Power and a Poison Fang. So we're going to get to the back-to-back Mirror Shots, and we're going to be able to take this game on the CMP. So good game to them. Had I just not shielded that Poison Fang, it was a very ballsy no-shield if I had done it, but I had a feeling. It always happens that way, right? All right, getting to the next game. We got Gligar on the lead. Very nice lead here. Exactly what I want to see. And the steel typing of the Pokemon in the back really do make this nice here. Now, my opponent safe swaps into Carbink. So I'm going to take this opportunity to overload on energy here, do some chip damage to this Carbink here, and then I'm going to actually look to build up some more energy, eat the energy from the Carbink here, because I don't necessarily, care so much about that. I'm actually going to build up to a couple more Surfs. I'm going to throw another Surf here. I probably could have left at any point and brought in my Magnezone, but I feel like there might be, some kind of bait here, right? Like, I feel like they're trying to bait out my Magnezone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up with my Steelix here, and I'm going to actually build up energy so that, because I know the Gligar is going to swap back in here because I've taken so long. So here comes Gligar. I know they have no energy. I'm going to go for Psychic Fangs here, and then we're going to be able to land a Crunch or go for the Crunch. But again, Jellicent has quite a bit of energy here, and will be able to take out the Gligar if I need to. So I'm fine with this because Magnezone looks like it's going to do fine. I assume that they're probably, Gligar in the lead with 2 things in the back that might be weak to Magnezone, because Gligar is typically a pretty solid answer to Magnezone, just with its pacing and ability to bait with Aerial Ace, threatening the one-shot and then some with a dig. But I'm actually going to go for a Psychic Fangs and strip their shield here. And now I'll let it go. This is all their energy. If they're going to throw a dig at me, then let it be a dig. That's all the energy they have. I can come in with Magnezone here, but the opponent has Superior. And now, once again, this is not something that is weak in the back to Magnezone. I'm in a very, very rough spot here. The opponent has a Carbink with very little HP, and they also have a Gligar with very little HP, and both of them are out of energy. So I have to manage this. This looks like a tough game, but keep strapped in your seats here, folks, because you're going to see this one's actually pretty nuts. We're going to go for the Mirror Shot here. They're going to get the shield off. Now, I can knock this thing out with a move, Wild Charge, Mirror Shot, what have you. Got to make sure that they don't call, they're not going to be able to, so bad. I have to make sure they're not going to be able to catch a move here, but I overfarm by too much, and Aerial Ace is going to be enough. I have to go for the Shadow Ball. The opponent tries to catch on the Gligar, and I'm able to farm down the Gligar here, and I have to wait. Look at the top right, wait and see what comes in. We're going to get the Surf off on the Carbink, and because of the overfarm, we're going to get the Shadow Ball off as well, and that's going to be a critical win here in the end game. Jellicent taking names in a very unexpected win there. Good game to the opponent. Getting into the next battle, get Jellicent on the lead versus Steelix. This is exactly where I want to see the Steelix here, and we're going to stay in as the opponent also staying in here. And I'm going to look to CMP them on 5 in case they want to try and throw a crunch, but the opponent actually overfarms here. So I'm not sure if they have crunch or if they just overfarm for some reason. They eat 1 surf here, and now they're going to go for the move, but I do win CMP. Now, if this is crunch, it's going to suck. I'm expecting them maybe not to have crunch, but they have built up to an earthquake, so I feel like if they're going to stay in and shield, I think that they may be weak in the back to Jellicent, so I am going to go ahead and shield up, and of course, they do throw the crunch here. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put up my second shield because now that they've just thrown that crunch, I'm going to outpace them to another 2 crunches. My opponent comes in with their Pelipper. I'm looking for the full farm down here, and they're going to get to the Weather Ball here. I just need to get 1 more Volt Switch in, and we're going to be able to knock this thing out. But the opponent has enough energy for Weather Ball. Pelipper is so frustrating, dude. All that energy on my Magnezone going to go to waste here. Now it's going to come down to what they have in the back. Well, since they don't have any energy left and their Steelix is incredibly low, I'm going to come in with my Steelix here and look to farm down before they get to a Weather Ball here. They needed 5 for the next, and they were not able to get there. Now it all comes down to what's in the back. The opponent has a Mantine in the back. This is a playable endgame here for Steelix, as we're going to be able to throw crunches here. The opponent's probably not going to bother shielding until they get near lower HP. The opponent tries to catch a move on their Steelix, and I'm able to get the crunch off before they're going to be able to get to a move. I didn't want them to be able to get to a Psychic Fangs either, just because, Water Pulse and all that. So we're going to see what move the opponent has here, as they're most likely going to throw that Water Pulse if they have it. Ice Beam is the move of choice on this Mantine, and the opponent concedes after seeing how much damage it does. Good game to them. And that's going to be a wrap on this particular team here. Magnezone cutting up and just electrocuting everything in this meta. It's actually, like, Magnezone, I mean, there are other games, there are other teams with Magnezone that you could play, as I'm sure someone has probably found them by now and posted them to YouTube, but, Magnezone just does not care about typings. Just Wild Charge still does so much damage even when it's resisted, unless it's against Steelix, that doesn't count. But, again, you could run Mantine on the lead instead of the Jellicent if you like. Steelix could be Shadow or None. It could really also need to be a Steelix. You could run something like Greeton or something that's basically a fighting lure. You could probably run, if you were to run something other than Jellicent, right, you could run, like, Mantine with a with a Dugong in the back if you want to, even, or something like that. But anyway, this has been a really fun team to play. Hope you all enjoyed the video. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.